Tula Being Online Yoga Studio. We've got our short and sweet Yin practice again this week for you. And today is all about our third chakra, this energy portal that resides inside of us. And it's our Solar Plexus, the Manipura. And this is all to do with our emotional reactions, basically, to do with our self-confidence, our self-belief, and just how we might view ourselves. There may be times in your life where things feel really quite comfortable and at ease, you feel pretty confident with what you're doing, and anything could just suddenly come along and rock it. I don't know about you, but I feel like the modern world means that we compare ourselves to others more than ever. We've got this social media, we've got screens, televisions, news 24/7 at us. So we have this constant comparison towards other people. And in some ways, this has made us even more self-conscious and perhaps more doubting of our own abilities as well. So we are seeing if we can stabilize that energy within us, create an equilibrium and a balance so that we're not really full of confidence that we're obnoxious, and that we're also not right down here so self-pitying and self-conscious that we can't leave our home. So setting ourselves up, we're actually going to start lying down. I've got a couple of props here, which you might not actually really use that much. I just gather everything when I do a yin practice, just sort of in case. I'm going to start lying down on my back. I'm just going to bring a towel underneath the back of my head, but actually we're not going to have any props to begin with right now. So just lying down here, we're going to start with a little visualization. Could you start with the feet as wide as your mat, or at least hip width, knees TP together, and just gently resting your hands, one onto the lower belly, one onto the lower ribs there. And just taking a few expressive breaths into the belly area. It might feel nice to imagine a balloon filling up with air, and then releasing beneath your palms inside the belly. Imagine now that there's this bright yellow golden globe inside of your belly, roughly where the navel is. And we're just starting to experience this wonderful expansion of warmth, radiating up into the palms, radiating out into the side body, radiating down into the back body. Almost like a mini sunshine inside of you. Can you feel the warmth expand ever further up into the heart, the shoulders, down along the length of the arms, down into the hips, the thighs, the knees, the calves, the shins, down into the feet, drawing its way into the hands and up into the head. Warmth starts to nourish your being. This point, just starting to lengthen your legs out. And we're going to start in banana asana. So I'm going to keep my hair where it is. I'm going to walk my feet towards the left side. And now I'm going to start to bring my head over to the left side and my shoulders. Now, just feeling into the side body on that right side. We're going to hold this maybe no more than 2 minutes today. If it feels good and right for you, you could reach the arms or one arm up overhead, adding an even more fanning of the ribs on that right side. If it feels good, you might even choose to hook right ankle over the top of the left there. You want to see if you can keep both hips the same level, so you haven't rotated or lifted that right hip any higher than the left. You could turn the head one way or just keep the head very centered and neutral. Sometimes I like to explore an extension and expansion of breath through the right side. You might like to come back to that glowing golden orb that resides inside your belly. And a gentle wave-like sensation of warmth rippling its way out from the center. And we're staying here for just 3 more, but full rounds of breath. And then you're going to slowly come back through to center. I invite you to come to a place of complete release, often referred to as a moment of rebound. We're not going to stay here for too long, and we're actually not going to work straight onto the other side. We're going to change this up a little bit here. Just heading into a spinal twist. I'm going to shimmy my hips slightly to the left side and just allow the knees to gently travel down towards the right side. If you happen to have anything nearby that you want to place between the knees, you might choose to. I've just wedged a pillow there between my knees. If it feels good to turn the head away the opposite way to the knees, you might do that too. So what I'm attempting to do is see if I can keep my shoulders grounded. So don't worry if the knees are not totally close to the ground or to one another. Can you feel this sense of expansion through the heart and nestling down to the shoulder blades into the ground? See if you can avoid filling this space. Keep coming back to the physical body or back to an anchor such as noticing sounds or the sensation of breath. And let's just take 3 more breaths now. Softening with each exhalation. And then ever so slowly, you'll draw your way back up through to center once again. Just shimmering your way with the hips back to neutral and just landing however you need to. So you don't have to match exactly my shape. It might be that you really need movement. If so, move with care, be gentle. That inner critique can just pop its ugly head whenever we least expect it. And just like we practice speaking to ourselves in a negative way, we can actually practice speaking to ourselves in a positive way. But it really is a practice. It takes time, just like learning any new skill, to change the wiring of our thought process. We're going to head towards banana asana on the other side. So I'm lengthening my legs, and then I'm going to shimmy my feet towards the right side this time, and also my shoulders and my head. So I keep the buttocks where they started, they're not moving. Maybe you're choosing to hook left ankle over the right. Maybe you're choosing to raise one or both arms. And it really is a choice at any time that you move your body. Once you practice yoga a few times, or perhaps even over a few consecutive months, you start to become more and more familiar with how your body moves and what you need for your own body. And it isn't just our body being separate to our mind, they're very interconnected. So some days you need more or less. Some days you need a little extra support, less support. Some days you need to move faster or slower. Just like the energy that we wake up with, mood and emotions change. Just know that things are ever changing, ever evolving. Noticing now if you're really holding still any part of the body quite tensely, is there any way that you could just soften that little bit more? Maybe it's even through the jaw or the forehead. Maybe it's through the glutes, the thighs. And just 3 more breaths. And then it'll be a gentle gathering of your way back through to center. Let's come to pause, just a mini moment of a rebound there. Any shape that feels right for you. In this moment of rebound, the body just is finding its way back to regular lines, its elasticity. And the meridian lines and chakras just start to find their rhythm and their flow. And then slowly we prepare for that supine spinal twist on the other side. So I've just shimmied my hips a little bit towards the right side. I'm choosing to gather a prop between the knees today. You might notice more or less sensation depending on what you want by bringing the knees closer towards you or further away. You might have changed the shape of the legs so that they're not perfectly even. That's totally fine. Maybe you could attempt to spread the arms and allow the shoulders to really soften down into the earth. If it feels good, maybe you turn the head the opposite way to where your knees have traveled. What does being self-confident look like and feel like to you? Can you think of a moment where you have experienced feeling of being really truly confident in yourself? For some of us, we have to put a lot of work into place before we feel a sense of confidence. For some of us, it definitely is a little more natural. But behind every outwardly seemingly confident person, there is that little devil inside all of us, that little naughty self-doubt devil that rears its ugly head from time to time. And it's just noticing when that little self-doubt devil pops his head up, that we see if we can catch it before it starts to spiral. So it's just becoming a little more aware of some of the language that we might use towards ourselves at certain times of the day or certain activities we're attempting to do. And just 3 more breaths here. And just when you feel ready, slowly coming back through to center. And just coming through to a little moment pause. From here, we're going to come through to a supported bridge pose. So we will need to find something to wedge underneath our hips. Now, that could be, if you happen to have a block, you'll maybe grab that. It could be that you've got a couple of cushions. I'm not sure if I can fold this in half. I possibly could. It might sort of stay there in that shape. So Might be worth grabbing a couple of cushions. Perhaps it's that you've got a couple of towels that you've rolled up or folded up. I happen to have my bolster. I'm going to use this at this stage. So I want to press down into my feet and lift the hips high enough to slot whatever you've chosen underneath the hips. So I'm able to get a fair bit of height with my bolster. So you might be just still trying to find something that will work for you in this final pose here through our short and sweet yin practice. I've chosen to keep the arms quite low, but you might choose to bring the arms wider or lift them up over the head. Just note that that will create more of a heart opening shape. If you like that, so welcome to stay there. So the aim right now is just to have the hips, if possible, higher than your heart and your brain, just slowing down the heart rate a little bit here. Great way to reoxygenate the brain. For a lot of us, can be a calming pose, but if you're someone that does have high or low blood pressure, just please do take with care. Maybe you're not hanging out in these poses for as long. I've chosen to keep my feet to the earth and the knees bent, but it might be that you are exploring something else. Maybe the legs are long, you create a little bit of an opening through the front of the hips there. Or for some of you, if you're really nicely balanced, you might even choose to lift the knees. And I'm choosing to keep the knees bent, but some people even straighten the legs. So just choosing whether you want to add anything else here. And it might be that you take a moment to explore and then even come back to that first variation that you were already in. Slowly coming back towards the body here, back to awareness of where you are. And then slowly pressing the feet down. We're going to remove any props, but what I might do is actually just shimmy it on down behind the back of my knees as we're thinking about resting into our final pose of Savasana. At this point, you might be removing all props. Maybe you're gathering a few more items of clothes, maybe turning the lights out, but basically settling into deep rest. Just bringing yourself to feeling into your surroundings. Could be just with deeper breaths at this moment. Maybe over time you start to add a little wiggle here and there, a little encouragement of movement. And then over time you think about unfurling and reaching out. Maybe a big deep inhale. Big exhale. And then ever so slowly working your way onto the side. And ever so slowly making your way upright to seated, where I invite you to plug thumbs into heart space. A reminder to turn that self-doubt into self-love. To quieten the inner critic. Maybe call out a little louder with that self-love. And a little acknowledgement to one another. Thumbs to the center of forehead as we take an acknowledging bow. Thank you for joining today's Yin practice. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like it below, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon. Not only will this keep you up to date with my offerings, but will keep content like To The Being free and accessible to all.